Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Okay. 17 students have joined. Okay, till others join. Today I'm going to discuss about this downlink transport channel processing. So, do you have any idea about what are the different types of transport channels in the downlink and as well as uplink? Anyone can say? Will I share the full screen? Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is it possible to say from your side what are the different types of transport channels in the downlink and as well as uplink in LTE? This already I have discussed long back. So no idea. So in the downlink, actually there are four transport channels. One is the downlink shared channel. Okay, just let me. Yeah. So as I said, a downlink shared channel, broadcast channel, paging channel, and multicast channel. These are the four different types of transport channels in the downlink of LTE. Okay, so what downlink shared channel will do? Okay, so this is used for transmitting the downlink data. Means that is both control and as well as traffic. So it is associated with the logical control channel and as well as traffic channels. So it supports hybrid ARQ and dynamic link adaptation. Okay, so the dynamic link adaptation means it will be able to vary the modulation, coding, and as well as transmit power. That is what is known as a dynamic link adaptation. So it supports broadcast in the entire cell and also supports beamforming and it supports dynamic and semi-static resource allocation. And this channel supports discontinuous user equipment, discontinuous reception. That is especially used to enable user equipment power saving, and it also supports MBMS transmission. So this MBMS means multimedia broadband multicast service. So this is one downlink transport channel in the LTE. So other three are these paging channel. So this is associated with the paging control channel, and this is transmitted on the physical downlink shared channels. Okay, so here the physical resources are dynamically applied. That is the paging channel. Okay, and it will broadcast the message in the entire coverage area of the cell. Okay, and it also supports user discontinuous reception to enable user equipment power saving. And another downlink channel is the broadcast channel. And this broadcast channel is associated with the broadcast control channel. Okay, and for this channel, the transport format is predefined and it is fixed also. Okay, and it broadcasts system information in the entire coverage area of the cell. Okay, this multicast channel, okay, this is associated with multicast control channel and as well as multicast traffic channel. Okay, that is MTCH, multicast traffic channel, logical channel for multicast and broadcast services. Okay, so this MCH broadcasts in the entire coverage area of the cell, and it supports MBSFN, combining of MBMS transmission on multiple cells. That is, MBSFN means sorry, multicast broadcasting single frequency network. Means the synchronized base stations will be transmitting the or broadcasting the same information to different user equipments, okay, by using the same resource. So that is known as multicast broadcasting single frequency network, MBSFN. Okay, this also supports semi-static resource allocation. Okay, so these are the 4 different types of transport channels which exist in the downlink of LTE. Okay, so why I just repeated these is because we are going to discuss about the downlink transport channel processing. So we should know what are the different types of transport channels are there in the LTE. Similar to that, there are 2 uplink transport channels supported by LTE. One is uplink shared channel, so which is similar to the downlink shared channel. Okay, and another one is a random access channel, that is RACH. So this RACH carries a minimum data for initial access. Okay, so that is, these are the 2 different types of uplink transport channels in LTE. So now let us come to what that downlink transport channel processing is. Okay, so these transport channels are used by the physical layer to provide a service, okay, to provide a service to the MAC layer. So the data and control streams coming from the MAC layer are organized in the form of transport blocks. So I repeat once again, as I said, the transport channels are used by the physical layer to provide services to the MAC layer. Okay, so here the data and control streams coming from the MAC layer are organized in the form of transport blocks. So it is a very, very important term which we are supposed to understand. What do you mean by transport block? So transport block is nothing but it is data and control stream. Okay, that will be organized in the form of block, okay, which comes from the MAC layer. So here each transport block is a group of resource blocks. So when I say resource block, you should get a visualization of already what I have discussed about downlink and uplink resource grid, right? There is a PRB, physical resource block. Okay, so each transport block is a group of resource blocks with modulation and coding schemes. Modulation and coding schemes. So this downlink physical layer processing consists of channel coding and as well as modulation. Okay, so this will map each transport block to the specific physical time frequency resource. Okay, so this channel coding involves mapping the incoming transport blocks from the MAC layer into different code words. And I hope you are already aware of what is code word, which you have studied in the ITC, right? So the purpose of channel coding is to map the incoming transport blocks from the MAC layer into different code words. And the modulation, I said the channel coding and modulation are the two main processes which are there in the downlink transport channel processing, right? So modulation will generate the complex valued OFDM baseband signals for each antenna port. So here there are different types of antenna ports, like antenna port 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that I will take later on. So as I said, the purpose of modulation is what? To generate the complex valued OFDM baseband signal for each antenna port. Okay, then which are then up converted to the carrier frequency. So this is just I've introduced some terms here. One is the transport block, and I said what transport block is, right? I said it is a group of resource blocks with modulation and coding schemes, right? So this transport, there is downlink transport channel processing has two major processing. I said one is the channel coding, and second one is the modulation. Right. So let us consider the first one, that is channel coding process. So I said that the data and control information are organized, which are coming from the MAC layer into transport block. So the transport block is given as an input to the that we are adding CRC to the transport blocks. So what is the purpose of CRC? Do you have any idea what purpose CRCs are used? That is cyclic redundancy check. Okay, CRC is used for error detection. Okay, channel coding has that capability, right? So by adding CRC, we'll be able to detect the errors. So for transport blocks, okay, of certain size, for that the CRC will be added. The purpose of adding CRC is for error detection. Okay. Then after adding CRC, the code block segmentation is done. So why code block segmentation is done? Here there is a limit on the size of the transport block plus CRC. Okay, so if that size exceeds more than the maximum code segment, then that will be converted into a block. Means segmentation will be done. So let me see what is that maximum size and all in the coming slides. That is a purpose. Then after segmentation of the code block, then it will be channel coding is done. So here, so we have studied in ITC about various types of channel coding techniques. So to mention a few things here, we say convolutional coding with a code rate of 1/3 and the turbo coding are used in LTE. Okay. So after channel coding, it undergoes rate matching. Okay, the purpose of this rate matching is to refix the size of the transport block to fit to the payload size. Okay, so which is decided by the modulation scheme. let us see what in detail about rate matching and other things in the coming slide. So after rate matching, then the code blocks will be concatenated. Okay, so these are the different steps involved in channel coding process. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 steps are involved in the channel coding process. So I repeat once again. First, we add CRC bits to the transport blocks. Then, after adding CRC bits to the transport blocks, depending upon the size, means if the size exceeds more than the maximum allowed size, then the segmentation will be done. Okay, after segmentation, channel coding is done. Okay, after channel coding, the rate matching is done. Then, after rate matching, the code block concatenation will be done. Okay. So this is one part. The second part is, means this arrow goes as input to the next. So that is the modulation process. Okay. So that output of code concatenation. So there we get the code word sites that will be scrambled. Okay. That is scrambling is done. Then modulation mapping is done. Okay. Then it is applied to the layer mapper. So then with the different layers, the pre-coding is done. So these are all big terms. Let me discuss each block in detail. Okay, just I am showing you the entire block diagram. This is just overview, hence the beginning. Then the resource element mapping is done for each pre-coded information. Then the waveform signal will be generated. That will be fed to the antenna port. Okay, then it is transmitted over the air. So these are the two different processes happening in the downlink transport channel processing. Okay, one is coding channel processing, and another one is modulation processing. Okay. To take each step in detail, so this is the channel coding process. So as I said, this is the transport block size. Okay, for that the CRC is attached. So this is a CRC, and I think you are aware of how many bits is used as CRC bits. It may be 8 bits, 16 bits, or 24 bits. So in this case, in case of LTE, here the 24 bits are used as a error detection bits, and they are appended to the transport block. So that is the first step. And next, as I said, after adding CRC to the transport block, so depending upon the size, right, the segmentation of that code blocking is done. So for every code block, again CRC will be added. Okay, so code block 1 and so on up to code block C I have written here. So for every code block, the CRC is added. Okay, the after segmentation, the next step is channel coding. Okay, so here channel coding, as I said, we are using either convolutional coding or the turbo coding. So both are used. After channel coding, the rate matching is done. See here in case of rate matching, what I said, the purpose of rate matching is to refix the size of this code block to fit to the size of the payload, I said. Okay. After doing that, okay, there are different techniques to do that. So after doing that, it will be concatenated. Okay. So this is what the entire process in the channel coding. I will again take up one example and I will show you in detail how each stage happens, what happens in each stage. Okay. So this is just a general this one. So what I said in the channel coding, right, for the downlink, it is a combination of error detection, error correction, rate matching, interleaving, and transport channel or control information mapping onto the physical channels. This is what channel coding is. Okay, so it provides an error control mechanism for data transmission using forward error correction code and error detection based on the CRC, that is a cyclic redundancy check. Okay, so for shared channels, means downlink shared channel things, the error control mechanism is coupled with the retransmission mechanism. Okay, so retransmission mechanism is one example is this one, hybrid ARQ protocol. Okay, so to understand here, for shared channels, error control mechanism is coupled with the retransmission mechanism like hybrid ARQ. So the combined use of error control mechanism and retransmission mechanism improves the link reliability significantly in the feeding channels. So that is one advantage of doing this. Okay. So I repeat once again. So the channel coding for the downlink is a combination of what I said: error detection, error correction, rate matching, interleaving, and transport channel work control information mapping onto the physical channels. So the channel coding provides an error control mechanism for data transmission using FEC code, that is forward error correction code, and error detection is based on CRC code. Okay, I said for some shared channels, error control mechanism is coupled with the retransmission mechanism like hybrid ARQ. And I said the combined use of this error control and retransmission mechanism improves the link reliability in the feeding channels. So in case of LTE, the coding rate at the channel encoder is fixed. So as I said, we use a convolutional encoder with a coding rate of 1/3. Okay. So that will, and a different coding rates for the whole transport block are achieved by repetition during the rate matching procedure. So rate matching is one procedure and channel coding is another procedure. Let me elaborate this the coming slides. So as I said, the CRC is used to provide error detection on the transport block, right? Hence, the CRC is attached to the transport block. So how do we generate CRC? Means it will generate the parity bits by using cyclic generator polynomials. Okay, and the number of parity bits can take the value of 8, 16, or 24. I said. So here we have taken 24-bit CRC is the baseline for the downlink shared channel. 24-bit CRC is the baseline for the downlink shared channel. Let me check who has 41 students are there. Redmi Note 3 has not written his name. Who is at RN? Who is at Redmi Note 3? So, okay. Okay. So this is all about CRC adding to the transport block. Okay, just for the purpose of error detection. Right, I said it is of 24-bit CRC. Yeah, as I said, no. So whatever the diagram I have shown at the beginning, that is a transport block, then CRC addition, then code block segmentation, channel coding, rate matching, and all. So I repeated once again in a different fashion. So okay, so your transport block with the CRC attachment, So I'm considering here A0, A1, and so on, all the transport blocks, right? So B0, B1, and so on up to B minus 1 are the code block segmentation after CRT attachment, CRC attachment. Then the channel coding is done with a different notation. I use here A, B, and here I use C. Then output of channel coding I have denoted as D or not to the power of I and so on. Then rate matching, then code block concatenation. So output of that I have written as F0, F1, and so on. This one. See, the whole purpose of this channel, this process is to convert that transport block from the MAC layer into a series of bit stream data which are to be transmitted over the air. Okay. For doing that, so all these steps are done, or process is done. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So just to get, is it clear, this picture?
No, sir.
It is not clear? Okay. So here I am showing just how we are adding the CRC bit. So these are A0, A1 means these are the different transport blocks. Okay. These are the transport blocks from the MAC layer. Yeah, see, these are the transport blocks from the MAC layer. So here I am writing, right, same thing, same transport blocks with CRC added, which is of 24 bits. That's what I'm saying. So this B will be equal to, if I can say these are the transport blocks are A plus 24 bits is the value of B. Okay. Transport block plus 24 bits of CRC will give you the value of B. That is output of the block code block segmentation. That is after adding CRC, just it is. Okay. Okay. The next thing is just as shown here with the diagram, how CRC bits are added to the transport block. That's all. This is the first step. And next step, what I said, yeah. So after adding, sorry. See, after adding CRC bits to the transport block, the next step, what I said, it is the code block segmentation. I said, how do we decide when to do the segmentation, right? So this code block segmentation is performed when the number of bits in the sequence after CRC attachment, I said it is B, is larger than the maximum code block size. Okay, the maximum code block size for this turbo encoder is yeah, the maximum code block size for the turbo encoder is 6144. Okay, that is the maximum code block of the turbo encoder. So when after adding CRC transport block, if that size is more than this maximum code block size, then we need to go for code block segmentation. Okay, so it will break the long sequence into C code blocks, and again it will add 24-bit CRC sequence to each block. So here the formula is done. C is equal to means the coded sequence. code block segmentation which is equal to 1 if B is less than or equal to Z. What is that B? B is transport block plus CRC. Okay, if it is greater than the value of Z, then how do we do that? We divide that B by Z minus L. Okay, so B is the transport block with CRC and Z is the what? That is the maximum code block size minus L. So L is the number of CRC parity bits. Okay, so by using that, we will be able to decide what is the code block segmentation size. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So this is what is shown here. See, transport block with CRC, transport block with CRC. Then it is now what is done. See, R rows are created, right? 1, 2 up to R, right? Means by adding CRC to each code, right? So here we are going to split the big transport block into multiple small blocks, and we are adding another CRC to each of the splitted chunk, right? So why do we need to split this block? Because if the block size is exceeding the maximum code size, then we need to split that, right? So how do we split and what will be the size and all? We have discussed it in the last slide. That is C is equal to 1 if B is less than or equal to Z, and C will be equal to what? B divided by Z minus L if B is greater than Z, right? So that is what shown here. Means a single row is converted into multiple rows. That is what I can say in a layman language to say how this code segmentation is done. Okay, so one row is divided into converted into 3 rows. Okay, multiple rows, and so here this is about little bit about channel coding. So next step is a channel coding, right? So in LTE, the channel encoders are applied to transport channels. So here there are 2 types of coding. One is a tail biting convolutional code, and another one is turbo coding. Okay, so here just have mentioned what are the different transport channels and what coding scheme is used at what coding rate. So this is for downlink transport channels, and these are the 3 transport channels. That is downlink shared channel, then paging channel, multicast channel. Okay, for these 3 transport channels, the turbo coding scheme is used with a coding rate of 1/3. Okay, for broadcast channel, for that tail biting convolutional coding is used, okay, with the coding rate of 1/3. This is for transport channel. Okay, even channel coding schemes and coding rates for downlink control information. Okay, for control, see, these are the 3 different types of control information. That is downlink control information, that is DCI. So for that, tail biting convolutional coding is used with a coding rate of 1/3, and this is a control format indicator, that is CFI. Okay, so CFI is the control format indicator. So for that, block coding is used with a coding rate of 1/16, and the last one is hybrid ARQ indicator, that is HI. Okay, hybrid ARQ indicator. So for that, repetition coding is used with a coding rate of 1/3. Okay, so these are the different types of channel codings adopted in LTE. Okay, for different channels I mentioned here. So let me see what this tail biting convolutional coding. I think you are aware of what is convolutional coding so far, right? And even I think you are studied about turbo coding also. So let me say about tail biting convolutional coding. So before that, let me say how that the channel coding divides that code segment into again further rows. See what is done in code segmentation. Single row was converted into 3 rows, right? Just I'm telling in a layman way. Okay, a single means transport block with CRC, right, is segmented into 3 rows by adding CRC to that. So now those 3 rows again are done what? Means each row is converted into again 3 rows. That is 140, 141, 142. Like that, R40, R41, R42. Right? 3 into R rows. Okay. We add a 3 into R rows we are converting. So here what I can say, 1 bit input becomes 3 bit output. Okay. So as it goes through the turbo coding processor. So that is what the meaning of coding rate is 1/3. Okay. So in this process, one input row generates 3 rows of output. So how 3 rows of outputs are generated is shown here. For 1 row of input, 3 rows of outputs are generated. This is for 1, 2, 3 and so on up to R. So any doubts we have so far about this? I will unmute. You have any? Yes, you don't have any doubts related to this so far, whatever I have discussed.
Awesome.
We can chart also.
Sir, in CRC attachment, sir, in the addition of CRC addition, in transport block, you add CRC, no, sir?
Yeah, for transport block, the CRC bits are added.
You add CRC.
Yeah.
But in code segmentation, you said that after the CRC, size of the CRC is greater. But CRC will be the last bit added, no, sir?
Yeah. For transport block, CRC are added 24 bits. After adding CRC to the transport block, if the size of the that block is greater than the maximum code size. So I said that is 6114, no? That is code size for turbo.
Yes, sir.
Then,
Sir, you said
then the code segmentation is done. I think.
But you said number of bits in the sequence after CRC, but CRC will be the last bit added, no, sir?
Yeah, fine. See, yeah, this is what this one, no? But I think is it visible, this diagram? See,
No,
this,
sir.
Yes, sir.
this is the transport block. For that CRC bits are added. Okay, after
Okay, sir.
this will be segmented. Okay, that segmentation I said this is a formula. Right, see, it is performed when the number of bits in the sequence after CRC attachment, okay, is larger than the maximum code block. Okay, that maximum code block size